The thing that makes AIM different is that there is never a charge for our service, ever.
I think there's a calming effect with it.
It teaches children to gain self-confidence.
A major improvement with the children in their fine motor and gross motor development.
My family has been very fortunate to be involved in AIM. Through the different programs and the staff, they have made such a huge difference in my son's life.
I was working for the Retarded Children's Program way back 100 years ago, and I was at a day camp and I saw retarded kids, and I saw how they walked, I saw how they talked, I saw the hesitation, and I thought, something needs to be done with these kids, but I don't know what. And I had a music background, and I thought, rhythm. Walking, rhythm, retraining brain. And I thought, if some way we could write a program that anybody with an 8th grade education could take that and help these kids, this could change their lives. So I began to write. And then I began to talk to friends of mine. One guy was a brain surgeon, another one was physical education, another was just a classroom teacher, another was a dance teacher, and one was a pediatrician. And I would give it to the pediatrician first, and I'd say, well, now if I do this, would this happen? And she would read it, and she'd, nope, you got to do this first, then do that. Okay, then it would go to the next person. After about 5 years, we put this together. We started where the child was in movement, and we knew what we wanted him to be able to do. So now we have to test it. It looks good on paper, but will it work? I didn't know, and neither did anybody else. So we started testing this, and we tested it with 4 little blind children. And all of a sudden, we saw these blind kids be able to walk in space they could not see. After a while, we were told by the Foundation for the Blind in New York that kids who had had this silly little program called AIM in Dayton, Ohio, they could learn cane travel in 1/10 of the time. So we knew we had something that would work with blind kids. The next door to the blind school was a deaf school. The problem you have with deaf kids, these deaf kids, is they cannot understand what you say, and you cannot understand what they say. It's the rhythm in speech that they don't have because they've never heard it. The rhythm, the big, little that we teach them, the hop, 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 is a rhythmic problem and a rhythmic base that retrains the basic part of the brain to help these kids to have some speech and be able to be understood by you. Well, then the next situation where it was what we called just retarded kids, they were all lumped into one group in the late 50s. That was a revelation. These kids, my, what fun they were. And they were so eager to embrace what you were trying to teach them. And what we were again trying to do is to help these kids to learn to read a little bit, write a little bit, teach them number concept, teach them color concepts, so that again, to train them to be all they can be. And we didn't know what that was. None of us did, but it was working. Well, now we had 3 of the basic handicaps. Then was the kids over at Gorman School, that all the children there were physically handicapped. Oh boy, how do you teach a child to hop and jump when he's in a wheelchair? So I had to rewrite the 3rd and 4th levels for kids in a wheelchair, so that they could still learn to reach, to strengthen this part of their body, to just get them to be, again, all they could be. We have the Nancy Lopez Training Center where the children come here. These are kids that cannot or are not in a school situation or that need our extra help. They come here, we work with them on a one-to-one basis. The thing that makes AIM different, unusual, is that there is never a charge for our service, ever. You call here, you say, I have a handicapped child. Only question that we ask is, what's the problem? We don't say, what color are you? Where do you go to church? How much insurance do you have? Doesn't matter. doesn't matter to us. If they have a handicap, they're welcome here, and we work with them. 5 days we are here at the center, and we are in any school, and every school across the country. There's an AIM program. We go in and train teachers in other cities, train the classroom teacher, train the physical education, speech therapist, the AIM method, and then they use it. For example, in Orlando, Florida, every class of special education kids have AIM. Every class. Same thing in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And that's what we do. And again, we don't even charge to go in to do these workshops. And that costs money. But that's what people give money to help us, to help these kids. Our National Ambassador, Nancy Lopez, has opened doors beyond whatever I could tell you. When there's a need, she meets that need or sees that it's met because she cares.
This past year, I sold my house in Albany, Georgia, which is a very emotional thing for me because that was my house. And I was a little, you have those pains and agonies of selling something that you're so close to, but it was really just a possession. And I went to AIM this past year and I met more handicapped children and their families. And I was pretty down about selling my house, but I met this little boy whose mom basically had to chase him all over the room. She had a strap around his waist, and he spun the whole time. He never stopped. And I thought, you know what? Her pain will never go away, but mine will. And that put it in perspective that, my life is great. And to be able to help these handicapped children and their family is special. And that's why AIM is my heart. So I want to thank the Salesmanship Club and Mr. Pickens and everyone else that was involved in helping thousands of children with the $100,000 that they're giving AIM. Thank you so much.
AIM has been part of my life for 22 years. I first became associated with AIM when my son was 2 years old. My son at that point was diagnosed as having developmental delays. And as a young mom with a son, I wasn't sure, because I don't come with instructions, exactly what to do. So I use it with my students here at school also. I've been involved with AIM and even becoming certified in AIM because I knew the importance of the mind-body connection. And then as my husband, who has a disease and has had strokes, as he began to need extra help, they offer it at where he lives now, and he participates in AIM classes once a week, which has helped him maintain some of the movement and getting his brain to, the left and right part of the brain to work also.
AIM has been a normal part of our life for the last 16 years. Do I like the people? We love the people. When things were kind of tough with David, we went through a really bad period, they loved on him and loved on us and supported us through it.
I think the one thing that I like to stress is that it is not your responsibility to help these kids. It's your privilege. It's your joy to give and to see these kids grow and to see these kids flourish to be the best they can be. Because these kids deserve the best that we have. The strange thing about all of this is that they're real. You can hear me speak, you can see these kids, you can look at them, you can be moved, and you can turn around, walk out the door, and pretend they never existed. But when you close that door, these kids are still here. And they're waiting for somebody to love them, somebody to care. AIM doesn't have all the answers. God, I wish we did. I have not been given the gift to heal these children. I do have something that works, and it's AIM. AIM does work.